process.
Seems like 2 big games in a row. Almost the bigger the game, the better this team has played, the way the season's gone so far.
Yeah, I think they had a great week of training and understand that how you train during the week is how you play on Saturday. And I think these guys have really started to figure that out. So, we had confidence going into the game, but our confidence going into the game was based on demonstrated ability. They trained at a really high level this week, and when you're playing 6 games into the season and it's your best week of training, those are the results. And so, the tough thing is you can't replicate that every week, or at least that's the challenge. So those guys got to understand that. So I told them, if you fall in love with the process will love you back, and that's what was on display tonight. So
This felt like a pretty complete victory against a really good team, offense and defense.
And special teams. I think our return game did a really, really nice job. I think all phases, and to be a good football team, you're going to need all phases, and I think they've handled it. We've always talked about 3 things happen during a game: momentum swings, adversity, and just random acts. And losing Blay early. Our guys didn't miss a beat. He's the leader for us on the back end, but he's out. And so he's out for the rest of the game. So it was next man up, and I think credit to that group on the back end. I thought they did a really good job against an outstanding quarterback. I've got all the respect in the world for Cam Rising.
Coach, you've always talked about the process. How happy are you for these players to experience this, to go through the grind last several seasons, and now to put together a 6-0 record?
Yeah, and that's what it's about. How much work you put in. The great thing about football is you can't fake it. Once you get across the white line, pretenders get exposed. You have to put the work in, and it's hard. The best thing this team does, and I got this from Buzz Williams at A&M, Texas A&M, a good friend of mine, but the best thing this team does is every day, and the hardest thing they do is every day. But they come to work every single day, and it's paying off for them on Saturday. So it's really cool to watch that. You see it kind of metamorphosize in front of your face, and it's really cool.
I think we ask you this every post game, but DTR just once again, big numbers, and now the all-time leading touchdown quarterback in UCLA history. What can you say about him?
Yeah, it's pretty cool for him. What Dorian has done, the work he's put in. I think people don't realize, if you don't see him on a daily basis, how important being good is. And it takes a lot for a quarterback. There's way more than just films and meetings and all those other things. There's so much work you have to do on your own, and he's invested a ton in himself, and he's reaping the rewards of that investment. But really happy for him. See how he's grown as a person and how he's grown as a leader. It's cool to watch, and it's well deserved. And when you start to think about the quarterbacks in the history of UCLA, that's a pretty cool list to be on. So I'm really happy for Dorian, and it's well deserved.
Chip, congratulations. Early on in the season, obviously some people who observed the team were not that impressed with the wins UCLA was having, but after these 2 games, is the team markedly different, improved from those first 3 games where, again, some people weren't that impressed with what UCLA was doing, or is this the same team we saw in the first 3 games?
Yeah, I think we've gotten better each week. And the cool part about this group is that our goal is to be the most prepared team and the least distracted team. So I don't think any of us are governed by the fear of what other people say. It's a tough society nowadays with likes and everybody. Do they like this? Do they like that? Just go play football, and that's the fun part. The best part about football is football, and our kids really enjoy playing football, and that's what you see on display today. So.
Yeah, that's what I was asking. But you do see a marked improvement of the team?
No, I don't see a marked improvement.
Tell me.
I'm telling you, I don't see a marked improvement. I saw a really good football team last spring. I saw a really good football team in week 1, and I see a really good football team in week 6. I think we've gotten better incrementally from week 1 to week 2 to week 3 to week 4, because we're all a byproduct of our experiences, but markedly, it wouldn't be a word that's in my vocabulary.
Okay, thanks.
Hey Chip, just to follow up about DTR, he had arguably his best game as a Bruin last week and followed up with a game like this today. Is this the best stretch that he's played?
Did you see him play in the Coliseum last year? When he threw for 4 and ran for 2?
Of
Or
course.
the year before, he went in 30 for 35 against them? He's had a lot of really good games. I think some of us have selective memory when it comes to Dorian, but I don't. I appreciate everything. Every day he plays here, and every day I get a chance to coach him.
Would you call it recency bias on my end?
I would call it whatever you want to call it. I've never heard of recency bias. So,
Thank you.
that's a good word. I like that.
I'll blame this on the radio broadcast people. They're saying at the end, boy, we could have won by 24, and here we're growing up by much like just a cup of coffee, it looks like in the papers tomorrow. And the same thing for Washington. Are you a little disappointed that the scores aren't really what is more indicated in the game?
Huh?
Yes, the scores are much tighter than the actual game. They got a couple cheapies at the end, and now here you got an interception to make it closer. Does it bother you at all? They were talking on the radio that the score was much closer than the actual game was to be played out.
Do you know what Herm Edwards is?
Mm-hmm.
And Herm had a great quote: "You play to win the game." That's all that counts.
That's it.
I want to ask about Zach Charbonnet, nearly 200 yards rushing. What kind of stability does he bring to this offense?
Yeah, Zach's our workhorse in the amount of work he puts in. You know, I can say that about everybody when you ask a question about individual players, but the work ethic and dedication, the physicality that he plays with, you feel really confident in handing him the ball because it's always going to be a positive result when you give him the football. But again, he's another guy that what you guys get to see on Saturday is what we see every single day with him, and I think he's done a tremendous job. We're really fortunate to have him.
Has he taken a new step this season?
I think he's taken a new step every game he's played since he's been here, and that's the great thing about Zach. I think he strives to get better on a daily basis, and I think we see that all the time from him.
Chip, with the wins of the past couple weeks, how do you keep the momentum going into the off week and with Oregon in 2 weeks?
Well, we have an improvement week coming up. We're not playing next Saturday, and I think one of the toughest things to do with any team is to kind of replicate what you're doing. But I think it goes back to us, for us personally, just, you know, again, embracing the process and coming back to work. And I know these guys will do that. They've been great for 6. We got challenges coming up. There's some really good teams still left on our schedule. We're going to have to go on the road. You know, we got 6 games left, 3 on the road, 3 at home. But they'll enjoy this one. They got tomorrow off, and then we'll be back at it on Monday.
And then DTR's TD pass to Loya, is there something that you guys saw that would allow that to be a big game?
Yeah, we just made a slight adjustment at halftime and talked about putting that route in. It actually wasn't in the game plan, but we added it at halftime, and Dorian and Logan and the whole group executed it perfectly. But those are the type of kids we have. We can put stuff in that we hadn't run all week, and they can execute it, and they did. So credit goes to those 2.
Yeah, one more thing about DTR. Do you think he's been nationally overlooked because he's been here so long? Would you like to see him get some Heisman run, that sort of thing?
Bill, that's a great question, but I'm the wrong guy to answer because I don't pay attention to any of that stuff, so I don't know what he gets or doesn't get. I apologize because I know you're on a lot of those shows, and I just don't watch them, so I don't know I don't know what he's getting. You know what I mean? I think he should be in the talk as one of the better players in this country. If that's the question, yeah, I agree with that, but I don't know because I don't pay attention to that, and I apologize. So,
Okay, fair enough.
Thanks.
You probably will say this isn't about you, but how does this feel for you to be here and win these types of games and start to get the kind of attention that puts this team where it is?
Yeah, it's not about attention, and I think the thing that makes me so happy is that our players have embraced the process, and what they're seeing is what they're getting out of it, and that's the joy you gain from it. So we have a word that we use in our locker room all the time called mudita, which I vicariously derive joy from other people. So when I watch our players have success, I see the smiles on their faces. I watch that celebration in the locker room. Those are the things that really get us going as people, and the reasons we get up in the morning and go to work. But for accolades and what's written on the newspaper and all those, and I know that's what you guys do, and I'm not slighting that. It's just I don't really pay attention to that. And if I preach to our players about being the most prepared and the least distracted, then I can't get caught up with that stuff. So I'm really good at selective ignorance, and there's a lot of things I just don't pay attention to.
I heard you use the word momentum, and is that a word you're using now?
That's a word we use in a game. There are momentum swings that occur in a football game because I think there's a back and forth in a football game. I just don't think there's momentum in college football from week to week because they're still 17, 18, 19, 20-year-old kids, and they live in a society where they're in a TikTok world. Things happen for 10 seconds. So what happened last week, 7 days ago, really doesn't affect what happened the next 7 days. And that's hard, especially when you did something really good last week. You want them to kind of feed off of that, but it's hard now. You know, that part's hard. And that's why I'll give this team credit, is that each week they've gotten better and better and better. And then that's the challenge, you know. But you got to be careful. You know, you got to really be careful. And then in dealing with success is just as hard as dealing with adversity. You know, how that happens for you. You know what I mean? So the great Denzel Washington quote is, at your highest moment, be careful because the devil's coming for you. So our guys better understand all we've done is won 6 football games. That's it. We're going to get a really good week of improvement this week. We're going to get back at it, and then we got to go play a really good Oregon team. And that's really what it is. It's not, hey, let's not throw our arm out of socket, pat ourselves on the back. All we've guaranteed ourselves is that we're successful in 6 games. What does that look like at the end of the year? We'll pick our heads up in December and see where we are, but there's still a lot of football for us to be played.
Coach, talking about momentum swings in the game, Muasau had that forced fumble. Can you just talk about how that shifted the game as well as his overall play?
Yeah, Darius has been just a great asset to this football team. He's really the captain in the middle there and does so many good things. I would add to his pick in the first half. When you play a really good football team like Washington last week and like Utah this week, it really becomes about who can hold serve. When we got 2 turnovers, besides the one we got late when we gave back to them, but those 2 turnovers I think were the difference. And then we get out to a lead, and then it's playing catch up. They score, we go down and score again. Now it's a 10-point game again. Then we get out to 17, so it's a 3-score game. So when you do the math at the end of, once it got to 4 minutes in the game, there's not enough time for them to get back into the game because they have to score 3 times to get this thing caught. So, I think those 2 momentum swings that he had in the game, his pick, and then that fumble were huge for us. And he's playing really, really good football for us right now.
All right, thanks, Coach.
He can ask a question. It's a day game. I mean, this isn't like a 9:30 at night game, so it's only like 3 o'clock. So we're good.
Hold on, we have places to go.
Well, the fans in Manila are partying right now, Chip.
Fans in Manila just getting up.
Can you expound on the play of your secondary, especially after Blaylock went out? It seemed like they really held outside the numbers.
They did against a really good group, and I got all the respect in the world for Cam Rising. I think he's done a tremendous job since what he did last year and taking them to a conference championship and taking them to the Rose Bowl against Ohio State. We knew we had our work cut out for you. He's so smart. It's tough. We try to disguise things. He picks those up. He has a lot on his plate. He checks a lot of plays at the line of scrimmage. He puts them in a lot of really good plays and gets them out of a lot of really bad plays. But the way our secondary stepped up, especially after we lost Blay, who's the leader back there, it was awesome to see. And you see some young kids growing in front of your face. That part's pretty cool. So.
And then, apologies if you answered this earlier. I came in late, but did you sense Dorian had an even bigger chip on his shoulder the past couple weeks because he came in, sky high after the Washington game and he was talking about people thought we were the worst 4-0 team in America and got that big win, and then he talked this week about that 49-3 loss to Utah and something to prove.
Yeah, I think all great athletes have some type of chip, no pun intended, on their shoulder. You watch The Last Dance and listen to Michael Jordan talk about what he perceives were slights, and the great athletes are intrinsically motivated. And whatever it is that gets them intrinsically motivated, I'm more happy to do it. So if it takes me trying to find some things that people said bad things about him, then we'll do that too. So he keeps playing like he's playing right now. Everybody's going to be pretty happy and smiling on Saturday. So.
All right, thanks, Coach.